Meet your new favorite Baldi. His name is Saitama, and he was so determined to become the strongest hero that he ended up trading his hair for power. Not intentionally, however, it just happened to be a product of his training. Saitama lives in City Z, in a world where monsters constantly attack and he makes swift work of them. However, becoming the strongest isn't as glamorous as it seems. What Saitama once enjoyed is now just a chore. So he's determined to seek out a monster that can finally rekindle his fire for battle. Our story starts with an explosion, and what looks like an outer world monster explodes from the earth, raining destruction down on the civilians. He immediately defeats two heroes, Smiley Man and Lightning Max. Saitama, watching the news, simply says, "Guess I'll go," and embarks towards Cydia just in time to save a little girl from being crushed in this monster's palm. Curious, the monster asks who Saitama is. Saitama hits him with some very convincing backstory, in the fact that he's simply a guy who's a hero for fun. The monster begins to explain that his name is Vaccine Man, and that humans are nothing more than a plague destroying the Earth with their actions. The Earth gave birth to Vaccine Man to ensure its own survival and to wipe out the humans destroying it. Growing to over 3 times his size, Vaccine Man continues to mock Saitama's half-assed backstory while knowing he fights for something much greater than fun. He barely even gets to finish his sentence when Saitama hits him with a 360 no-scope, immediately ending his life. As parts of Vaccine Man are raining to the ground, Saitama looks at his fist in stressed disbelief. He falls to the ground, screaming, "Not again." He once again defeated the monster in one punch. 3 years earlier, we meet a brand new character dressed in a suit walking home. Nope, just kidding. It's actually just Saitama with hair. He meets a monster on the street called Crablante, who asks Saitama why he isn't running away when everyone else is. He then explains his backstory. He was once a man who ate so many crabs that he became a crab himself, proving your mother right, you really are what you eat. Saitama explains that there's really no point for him to run. He's unemployed, can't find a job, and just got harshly rejected from another interview. Completely defeated, he couldn't care less what Crablante does to him. Crablante praises his lifeless eyes, stating they're similar to his own. Because of that, he allows Saitama to leave while stating that he currently has bigger prey to find anyway. A kid with a massive chin who apparently drew nipples on Crablante while he slept. Later we find that Crablante may be a monster, but he definitely isn't a liar. This kid has one big-ass chin. Upon confirming it's definitely the same kid, Saitama decides not to warn him and to get on with his life. Though as he's walking away, Crablante shows up, and out of sheer instinct Saitama jumps to save the kid. Saitama tells the kid to run, but naively the kid is more worried about his ball, which Crablante brutally murders. Saitama tries to reason with the crab, but Crablante states there's no way he can get the permanent marker off of him with his massive claws. Laughing at Crablante, Saitama is smacked into a building. This doesn't stop him, however, as he throws a rock right into Crablante's eye, claiming he can't let Crablante kill a kid. This makes Saitama remember his childhood dream of becoming a hero so powerful he could wipe monsters out in one punch, only to get slapped around by Crablante. Saitama waits for the killing blow to jump up Crablante's arm, wrap his tie around his eye, and rip it out of his socket, sending crab soup everywhere. It's then we see Saitama's eye ignite with what looks like a fire, only to be brought back to the present where they're more lifeless than ever. Scrambling in his wallet to find some change for his food, he notices tremors large enough to make everyone flee in fear. He walks outside and sees a footprint so large it steps over several blocks of buildings in one step. A ginormous monster and a mad scientist are trampling through the city. It's revealed that this giant was once a man who wanted to become the strongest person in the world, and was being helped by his older brother who was developing the strongest steroid known to man. He even added strawberry flavoring to it since he knew that was his brother's favorite. He then transformed into the Colossal Titan, only much stronger. He's even able to wipe out miles of buildings with a swing of the arm. With the brains of the scientist and the muscle of the giant, nothing would stop them from taking over the world. Except for this shiny head. Saitama bluntly asks how it feels to be the strongest, and the mad scientist shouts for his giant brother to kill the man on his shoulder. Unfortunately, muscle and brains don't always go hand in hand, and he picks the wrong shoulder to slam his hand onto. In a manic rage from killing his brother, he throws Saitama into the ground so hard he goes through the buildings, and proceeds to pummel him mercilessly. Reminiscing on the loss of his brother, he finally realizes something. What's the point of being the strongest anyway? He still feels the same emptiness. Saitama sympathizes with him, and while jumping back out of the hole and defeating him in one punch, simply states that having overwhelming strength gets pretty boring. Thinking he was doing the world a favor by defeating a monster, he actually hit this giant thing towards the direction of City B, and probably killed many people in the process. But like we said, brains and strength don't always go hand in hand. While walking home, Saitama confirms to himself that since he's become a hero, there's still no shortage of monsters. It's not that he's not making a difference, but all the emotions that came with fighting, fear, tension, joy, anger, he feels none of them anymore. While gaining power, he lost something inside of him. Super Custom YO649Z Mark II introduces himself to Saitama, but Saitama is more worried about his emptiness, and doesn't even let him finish his killer backstory. He gets home, washes his gloves, and has a quick bath with his best friend. Suddenly, he's woken up to absolute chaos. A monster punches him so hard that he flies through multiple rooms and straight out of the building. He's then met with a fast punch, one that blasts him away and unbelievably draws blood from Saitama for the first time in over 3 years. The large monster explains himself to be one of the many subterraneans, who suffer from overpopulation underground and simply need to move to the surface to ensure their own survival. They've already wiped out 70% of humans. They also state that no one has ever lived one of their punches, until Saitama. Saitama says, "Same here, brother," and gets to whacking. The Earthlings continue to chase Saitama onto a bridge above, but Pajama Saitama is too quick for them. Saitama's eyes ignite again, while he wipes out all the subterraneans around him. A subterranean elite lands, and with one swing sends Saitama flying into an explosion. The subterraneans question what Saitama was, thinking they'd won, to which Saitama slowly walks out of the fire stating once again, "I'm just a guy who's a hero for fun." He then starts handing out more one-way tickets to Pound Town. Saitama says to himself he'd forgotten what this feels like, the exhilaration of a real fight. For the first time in years he's remembered why he started training in the first place, before the king of the subterraneans appears to fight Saitama, giving him what he so desperately desired. However, there's one foe that Saitama can't beat. One that would take his dreams away forever. His alarm clock. The whole thing was a dream. The Earth is fine and its population is completely fine. He does, however, look outside to find that there are indeed subterraneans looking to exterminate the humans, but one kick to the face and a confident shout leaves them immediately running in fear. Saitama has become too strong. This has been King Cap Anime. Be sure to sub if you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.